Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
The sun is shining, and it's time for school to let out for the summer as we set our sights on the future and the war that is to come. So welcome back for episode 148 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berserker, and with me once again is our fit Brit who don't take no shit, known as Mr. Jez Corden. Welcome back again, good sir.
Hey man, sorry I missed the previous show. How was it? You went solo, right?
Went solo, but we carried your spirit, we carried your banner, and I think we did all right. But it by the metrics, people love you, and when you don't show up, boy, they don't love me as much. That is
not true.
That is for sure. So we're happy to have you back.
No
I know your
way,
schedule's been fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, for people that don't know, you know, with us being separated by, I don't know, 2 continents and an ocean and whatever else, 19 time zones, it is a bit of a dart throw and a needle thread to get us like in the same place at the same time. So you all should know that every single one of these is a special gem that you should treasure every time that we're together. This is art that we're making. So just
Cinema, baby.
yeah, true cinema. Yeah, so we're back here, back together, and up top, just to let everybody know, this will be the last episode that we do before taking a summer break. We're kind of at a spot where we're in season 4. We're in that sort of weird in between time. I have repeatedly preached the value of taking breaks and avoiding burnout and doing all of that stuff. And on top of all of that, between Jez and I, there's all kinds of travel happening. Jez is always traveling anyway, but on top of yours and mine, it's the summer's pretty busy already. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and the plan right now is to come back, you know, towards late July-ish. So yeah, it's going to be a couple months. But by then, you know, we'll be in the full throes of the war within, and pre-patch will be certainly, if not right on the doorstep, it's like on the walkway leading up from the street. We'll be right in the thick of it. But I know for you actually are coming stateside for a little bit.
Potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be heading out to LA for the Xbox Showcase event, which is the first Xbox Showcase where Bethesda, which is ZeniMax and Fallout and whatever, and ABK, so Blizzard, Activision, and King, and Xbox, so, you know, your Xbox studios like 343 and the Coalition for Gears of War. It's the first Xbox Showcase where everyone is under one roof in one big happy family.
That's
and
crazy.
Little birdie tells me that there will be a bit of Blizzard in the show, so
Ooh.
yeah, so might be relevant for everyone to keep an eye out.
Oh shit. Now is this for pleasure, or is this like a Windows Central gig?
Oh, it's 100% for work, but it's still awesome. You know, you get to meet everyone. You know, like a BlizzCon, right? You get to meet everyone in the scene. You know, Xbox creators. You know, I've been meeting year in, year out over the last 10 years, and there was a big break for COVID, of course, and now it's all back on. E3 died, so Summer
yeah.
Game Fest could live. So we're all calling it SGF now. Summer Game Fest by Jeff Keighley, bless him. But yeah,
Jeff Keighley, boy, he's cornered the market on that whole
he
gaming
has.
conference situation.
He has, yeah. He's swept in there, and this year's Summer Game Fest has like all the big players are involved. There's Ubisoft, EA, you know, Xbox does its own thing separately now, but like Summer Game Fest is like becoming legit, and it's kind of cool to see, you know. But yeah, we'll see what happens, and if there's anything interesting for Blizzard peeps and Warcraft down the line.
And I know you'll let us know for sure.
Heck yeah.
You know, it's sort of a tangential question here for you, but Jeff Keighley, what's your take on Jeff? Is he good? Is he a nice dude? Is he the high strung type A like I think he might be? What is he good? Good for the industry?
I mean,
what's your take on this guy?
I've heard all the kinds of takes from all kinds of people. All the devs. Some people love him. Some people don't like what he's doing. But one thing I do know about Jeff, and I met Jeff at last year's Xbox Showcase very briefly. The dude's just laser focused on what he wants to do, and he wants to grow this thing, and that it seems all consuming for him, you know, and that's what he's focusing on. So I think fair play to the guy, you know. I wish I could be that laser focused on something, but scatterbrained me. I get sucked into. I'm laser focused on my item level, you know. That's where I get laser focused on. It's very important, item level.
Super important. Super.
Yeah.
Well, safe travels on that. That is a long trip, and where in LA are they having it?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Microsoft actually owns a building in LA called the Microsoft Theater, which they acquired from Nokia when they bought Nokia's phone division.
That's
right. It used to be the
Nokia. Okay.
It used to be the Nokia Theater, but then
That's
Microsoft rebranded to the Microsoft Theater. But I don't know if they're actually having the event there or not. But I don't know. You said you're traveling as well. Where are you going?
I am doing, and you can actually tell me if this is wrong-headed or wrong thinking of my own, but this seems to me to be a uniquely American thing. I'm taking a road trip.
A road trip?
For 2 weeks, I'm driving in my vehicle with my wife and child around kind of like the western states of the United States.
That's I don't know if that's a uniquely American thing, but are you just triggered?
Do you do that in Europe?
We have trains in Europe.
That's the thing. You have trains.
So people train a lot to get to places where they want to go. But where I live in Germany, there's like the autobahn, right? There's no speed limit.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of motorcyclists here who go on road trips because they want to drive crazy miles per hour on the freeway, right? Yeah. And also there's these long, winding, mountainous roads through the Alps, and they do that. But often it is Americans who come here to do that, you know. But you just triggered a cool memory for me. Oh. I remember have you ever seen the Disney movie, A Goofy Movie?
Oh, yes.
They go on a road trip in that, right? In the Goofy movie, for some reason. I can't even remember why, but I remember as a little kid, I was like, oh my God, I really want to go on a road trip. Why can't I be American and go on a road trip? Like, when a little kid watching this, I love that movie so much, man. Oh, it's because they were trying to get to a concert or something.
Wasn't that's the whole? Oh my gosh, it's like they've brought that back too. It's someone listening to this, I'm sure, is screaming.
Yeah,
there was like a whole thing about the act in that, like the musical act. Like it's had like a resurgence in recent years.
Yeah, yeah, man. I loved it as a kid. I thought it was the best music I'd ever hear on the rest of my life.
It's like Power Slide or something.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was even. Oh man, I just remember being obsessed with it. And also wanting to go on a road trip. So, no, it's really cool. Like, me and my girlfriend discussed before about doing a road trip around Iceland. Like, there's a big ring road around the whole island in Iceland. But I just keep thinking, like, man, what if I need to go to the bathroom? I don't want to go to the public bathroom. I want a nice hotel. And
Yeah, that is
Creature
one.
comforts.
That is one thing that I did have to, there's always, when you're married and you're in a relationship, right? There's always a negotiation when you're doing things like this. So I did agree to all of our stops generally being at pretty nice hotels. So
Yes.
that for my wife, for me, I would have just grabbed sleeping bags. We could sleep on the side of the road or in the back of the 4Runner for all I care. It's fine. Let's just go.
See, my girlfriend's like that, but I'm the opposite. I wanna have the nice hotel and the comfort,
Now getting there, because some of these days are like 8-9 hours of driving to get between some of our stops. So I don't know what the restroom situation is going to be like. It could be a bit of a gamble, but that's why you do it. As a parent, I want that test. Right? Can I do it? Can I do 3,000 miles in like 11 days, 10 days, and make that without total disaster? Because there is also a very famous movie, National Lampoon's Vacation. You ever seen this?
I have not.
All right, so you want to talk about cinema? Classic adventure of a family taking a cross-country trip from Chicago, I think, to LA to go to a fake like Disneyland knockoff park, and all of the crazy stuff that happens to them between home and their arrival. It's a Chevy Chase, a vehicle back when he was funny and not a complete dirtbag, and it is glorious in so many ways. So if you have a chance, you should get out there and watch it and get a taste of what this is. But yes, I will be doing that. So between like your trip and then my trip, and then there's like Father's Day and birthdays, and there's like a bunch of stuff going on. That, folks, is generally why we're taking the break that we are. But yeah, safe travels to you, and I certainly will do my best. I'm getting new tires put on in like a week, so we should be in good shape. But one of the things that you have to have when you travel, right, is good music. And I know we're working on a playlist currently, and my portion of that playlist that will be playing in my car will include at least some of the metal album of the week that we have for you this week. And I am actually very curious to see, Jez, if you know this particular artist. This one's a little outside of our normal what you think of heavy metal vein. Once again, trying to kind of bring you something new and something different. So this week, I have the 1992 album Fire and Ice by guitar virtuoso Yngwie Malmsteen. And if you don't know who Yngwie is, he's a Swedish guitarist who is one of these, wild soloist guys. Think of like, Steve Vai, or
I know Steve Vai.
Or who's the bald dude? They go on tour together.
The Rock. No, different bald guy.
Dang it. He's slipping my mind at the moment, but he is one of these guys that he just shreds everywhere he goes. He shreds. So he's not like the lead vocalist or anything. But this album is a fantastic example of his work. I just put it on and listen to it. His style is often influenced by classical music, which is sort of his special addition to the whole scene, which I think I really appreciate, why I wanted to bring him up this week. Because he'll just shred like crazy, and then there'll be some Bach piece that he's now constructed into this guitar version, and it's super badass, and I love him so much. And I think I Am a Viking might be one of his other songs that I love quite a bit. But he goes back a ways. He's 60 now, so he's been around a little bit. But I highly encourage checking out his entire catalog. But have you ever heard of Yngwie Malmsteen, Jez?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
Okay. He is a unique individual, and the other reason why I picked this album is because the cover is the height of 1992 machismo guitarist cheese. It's so great. He's like in this action pose with the chest hair flowing, and like he's got fire coming out and around his guitar, and he's like standing on an iceberg or some shit. It's hilarious, and I love it so much. So, for this week, Fire and Ice by Yngwie Malmsteen. Now, have a rage portion for you this week that, like last week, this one touches on a little bit of realness. And Jez, I'm curious to see if you relate to this topic as well. So why don't we go ahead and jump into it?
Sure.
Let's rage.
So I hinted at last time I think I was here that there was some stuff going on in my life, some big stuff. A bunch of different things have happened. The first 5 months of this year have been fucking crazy. And as it turns out, one of those things finally came to a head in a good way. Because last week, and I don't like to toot my own horn like this, but this was kind of a big one. I got a big promotion at work, like a big one. Yeah, thank you. This is like it's hard to explain when you're not where I'm at, but I basically leapfrogged like 20 years of my career. Like it's
that's awesome.
It's big. And it's I'm lucky because I get to continue to work in the same place where I've been working for the last decade and a half. It's just now I'm kind of like one of the bosses. It was just sort of crazy. But along with it, one of the strangest things I think has happened, at least something I didn't really expect, is I've been fighting for this and been working on it, and all this stuff has been happening all these years. And I've seen different people in and out of this position over the years, you know, and I find myself almost like the dog who caught the car, and I find myself in the midst of a crazy amount of imposter syndrome, where I've seen people do this job terribly. I have no doubt that I will do better than most of them, but yet I found myself yesterday as I moved into the office. I moved out of the cubicle I was in to I have an actual office now, Jez, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, this can I do this? Is this? I don't know. I'm not sure I belong here. I think I fucked this up. I don't know.
You can do it now.
And all those voices, right? And I just want to say, fuck imposter syndrome and fuck that voice. And it's full of shit and it's bullshit. And I know I've earned this spot. And I know everybody out there that's had this happen to them, you have earned your spots too. But it's like, man, that voice is a bitch, and it's relentless, and goddamn, man, like I have worked my ass off and I know that I've got this locked down, but there's still that part of me that's like, they're gonna find me out. They're gonna find me out. I'm gonna be at my first big meeting tomorrow morning, and they're gonna find me out. They're gonna go, nope, we fucked up. I'm gonna imagine, Jez, given the heights that you've been to and seen, you may have a tangential relationship with this as well, because so I've come to find out all the high functioning people tend to. But does this ring a bell to you at all?
Dude, yes, to my every single day, I think. I went from being like a minimum wage IT guy to being, managing editor for one of the biggest sites in the West, which is kind of scary when I think about it. In 10 years. It's not been 10 years. It's not even been 10 years yet. It's been like 9 years or something. I don't know. But so yeah, every single day. And also because journalists are not very welcoming. They're not very, they're very competitive, and very cliquey, and so yeah, every single day. But I actually had imposter syndrome in World of Warcraft not an hour ago. Let's say literally about half an hour ago before we started the show, because, and maybe we'll talk about it a bit more in a minute, but I've decided to play a healer for this season.
Oh my gosh.
And I haven't played healer since vanilla. Back when, in the day, before all the mythic and all that kind of stuff. So we just killed heroic Razageth again, season 4. And then I went and did a mythic +8, I think it was, and it was tyrannical and afflicted affixes, and I did not have a nice time. I actually made us 15 to 20 minutes late because of how many deaths we had. And at the end of the run, I was just like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. So now I've got healer imposter syndrome, and I'm gonna run back to my warlock, tails tucked between my legs, and for War Within, and just feel like I'm never healing again. I'm never being responsible for someone dying ever again. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Man.
I've never done it. I could never do it. I see people do it, and it's just the stress and anxiety that I feel on behalf of a healer. There's no way. My hat's off to you for trying that. Really.
Yeah, I have like, I mean, I healed like Nax 40 back in the day, and all those raids, but like back. A lot of people have this nostalgia for vanilla, and they think like, "Oh, classic was so much harder," and it's like, no, it wasn't. Like I used to play like AQ 40 and Nax 40 and just watch a TV show and not really pay attention because the 40-man raid, half the raids pulling their weight and the other half of the raid slacking off, But when you're doing like the higher keys and stuff, my God, it is so stressful. When some of the affixes and tyrannical or fortified line up in a bad dungeon, like
I've heard. Sounds horrible.
Some healers just they won't play the game if it's certain combinations of affixes, and I actually come out of that dungeon with a headache. I was like, the cognitive load Blizzard expects healers to have sometimes is crazy.
Yeah.
So but some people love it. I've got healers in my guild. They've been healing since vanilla. Like they are crazy people. So yeah, my hat's off to them as well.
For sure.
Completely agree with you.
Well, I think maybe this is just part of the human condition, that there are just some things that we can't escape, but you got to put yourself out there. You got to try these things. Even I eventually at some point have to try a healer. I'm sure that day will happen, and won't happen today, but it will probably happen at some point. But even things that we find that are fun, right? That imposter syndrome can sneak up where it you least expect it. So, as I've kind of been running through it the last, 72 hours or so, I wanted to bring that up here. Along with, and this is a mini sub rage, and this does come up from time to time, but I just want to say how hilarious it is to me to watch certain content creators in our community and how goddamn fucking fake they are. Where the fake, like, I don't know, politeness, happiness, phoniness, like there are some people that I have come across this community, and I've seen some of it a little recently with some. It cracks me up to no end. So one of the things I want to say is, one, to you, Jez, I always appreciate how genuine you are. And to all the rest of you people out there that have ever dealt with me, I hope you feel the same way, that I'm pretty much who I am all the time, because man alive, it drives me crazy, because I never think that people will be like that, but then I see it happen and I'm like, man, you fake ass motherfuckers. So I appreciate all the genuines, all the real G's out there. Thank you for being legit and real. So that was just a little one. All right.
I know how that feels too.
I'm sure you've seen it much worse than I have, I'm sure.
Oh, I've got stories that when my career's over and I'm like, ready to spill the beans, I've got some right stories out there.
I hope I can't wait for the Jason Schreier chapter. I mean, you've never said anything to me, but I don't want to get you in trouble. Not yet. All right. Well, we did have a patch that just launched, and we had some very interesting story tidbits in that. So, along with everything else we've got going on, why don't we go ahead and jump into our news and talk about what's going on in patch 10.2.7 Dark Heart. So, Jez, I think one of the one of the things that Blizzard kind of fell asleep at the switch on was telling the player base, if you did not do the Void Elf starting zone, you're gonna be kind of behind the curve with a lot of the people and places that you're gonna meet doing the intro quest line to 1027 with Alaria and running around and seeing Void people and chasing the Harbinger. So there was a lot of the stuff that we did and that was totally new to me. Did you ever play a Void Elf? Did you, before we even talk about the story, did you have some semblance of knowledge of this situation beforehand?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I've unlocked the Void Elves, so you
Okay.
had to do the quest in the Rift and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I also read up a bit on their quote-unquote lore, because the Void Elves annoyed me so much, I was desperate to find some sense about their inclusion in the game. So I did dive in a little bit and try to make sense of them. Still not a big fan. I kind of feel like being a Void Elf is more like being a Shadow Priest, maybe. You know, like, why a Void Elf? Why not just let anyone be a Void human and just be a Shadow Priest? Because that's basically what they are. They're just Shadow Priests, basically.
But their aesthetic is so much cooler, Jez.
Ugh.
They're Void Elves. The Void.
They're just even more emo Blood Elves. But like it was like the Alliance were like, can we just have High Elves, please? And Blizzard was like, this is the best we can do. It's like, why just give them High Elves, for God's sake? You know, like, if you can argue there's enough Void Elves in the universe for there to be an entire race of a factional race, surely there's enough High Elves left in Theramore and Dalaran to let Alliance have the proper High Elves that they were asking for since vanilla. But no, you get your Void Elves.
Yeah.
You little eyeliner wearing Void Elves. Like,
Yep.
God damn. Can you tell? And this is the rage, my rage section for this.
Yeah.
I hate the Void Elves and I hate their lore, and
Wow.
I think it's weak, and I think it was shoehorned in just to give Alliance the High Elf model when they should have just given them High Elves. But I kind of feel like sometimes Blizzard forcibly thinks, oh, we can do it, but we've got to do it with a twist. We've got to make it a little bit weird, a little bit different. Like people's like, can we play Draconid, Blizzard? We're gonna add the Drakthir instead. Yeah, here's a
How about
Drakthir.
Vrykul? No.
Yeah. Like, we'll get Vrykul, but there'll be something else. There'll be like, I don't know, some other sub-race of Vrykul or something. And there's only a few times where I feel like they've gotten it right. I really like the Kulturans, because at least they exist in lore, you know, beforehand and all that kind of stuff. And they were really fully fleshed out. Zandalari as well were great, fully fleshed out. Even the Nightborn, I thought were a well done version of flipping a race to the other faction. But yeah, the Void Elves, not great. So that's my rant on the Void Elves. However, I did feel like this quest at least helped flesh them out a little bit. So did you play through the new quest line in 10.7?
I did. You know, we hooked up with our boy Khadgar, who sent us out on the mission, and we're with Illyria on the hunt. Now, I was expecting, and I said this in the last episode, I was hoping to see or hear a little more connection as to how do we get to the point where Khadgar knows what the Dark Heart is. So the Harbinger, right? We had Iridikron, and he portaled out, and the Harbinger and all this. So like they know what the Harbinger is, that it exists, and that there is a thing that he has in his hand that is bad. But how do they know that it's called the Dark Heart? I must have missed something somewhere, and I thought they were gonna say more about it here. So you lore nerds out there that listen to this, please tell me, how does Khadgar know that thing has a damn name? Because I missed all of that.
I think that sort of came through in the Dawn of the Infinite dungeon towards the end. I think Chrome.
I've watched that cinematic, and they say
Really?
nothing about what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's just
I
like
don't know then.
it's just like, here is this thing, and I'm gonna get the Titans with it, ha ha ha, and then he portals out. So
That's true.
I feel like there's a piece missing there, and maybe I missed it, but you know, fill me in, folks. But anyway, they know this thing is bad, and this Harbinger, whoever that is, has got it. Now we're gonna go figure it out and go find it. So we jump through a void portal with Illyria, and we go to this place that I've never been, but apparently it's the starting zone for the void elves, right? This I don't know, rift. What is it called? Rift.
I can't remember the name of it. It's like it begins with a T, and I can't remember exactly what it even is. It's like this Umbric guy and this faction of ethereals.
This is like the Telegris Rift or something.
Yeah, something like that. So like this particular blood elf, Umbric, decides he's going to be a void researcher. And he finds the Locust Walker. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
I think that's his name, Locust Walker.
Is that just his name? Okay. Well, he's descended from, or he is part of an ethereal. Is it all the ethereals? I can't remember if it's all ethereals or just him, or just his little faction. But his planet was destroyed by the Void.
Yeah,
the old
Koresh.
gods.
The planet Koresh was destroyed by the Void, and yeah, I think all of the ethereals were essentially this manifestation of entities that were able to survive somehow from that, and he's one of them.
Yes, and so the implication of Koresh, and I suppose the plot twist from this whole quest chain, was that the Radiant Song, which is being heard by people who are attuned to the light or the earth, people who can hear, we presume it's Azeroth, the world soul itself, is calling for help, or it's a warning, an alarm, and the Locust Walker implies that Koresh also had a Radiant Song before the Void Lord Dimensius turned up and ate the planet.
Yeah.
So it creates a sense of apocalyptic urgency going into the war within. This Radiant Song potentially portends the apocalypse and Dimensius, who I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Dimensius is new to WoW.
I think so, because I don't know that I've ever heard of that, and there's like no character design for it that I've seen.
Okay.
So I think that's new.
Yeah, no. Dimensius was in the Burning Crusade briefly at the end of a quest.
Okay.
He appears in the quest on Nethery Wings at level 30.
Oh.
On the 25 to 30, according to the level squish. Dimensius arrived in the exploded ruins of Manaforge Ultris in the Netherstorm, where he was defeated by the Ethereals of the Protectorate and Adventurers. Now, this is interesting because Dimensius the All-Devouring apparently appeared in the void remnants of Outland, and this random quest NPC is now the big bad. So we only see him for a flash in this random ass quest, which is intriguing how we've leapt from this to him being this planet devourer. If it is indeed the same Dimensius, or Blizzard has just accidentally reused the same name. He's called Dimensius the All-Devouring in the Burning Crusade, which, is... I cannot remember this quest at all.
Does not ring a bell to me.
The name Dimensius does weirdly ring a bell to me, and I have done those quests. So I must have done this quest sometime in the last couple of decades.
I was going to say, that's probably 2007 for me, so I'm not doing the math, but it's been a minute.
Yeah. and he's a Void Walker. He's got the Void Walker model with a bit of armor on it.
They call him Void Lord Dimensius in this recent quest chain. So, I mean, stranger things have happened.
There are some interesting quotes he has in this quest, like, "Time is only meaning for mortals, insect. Dimensius is infinite. You hasten the inevitable. In time, all will be devoured. I hunger. Feed me the power of this forge, children." Because, I remember now. Actually, one of the mana forges in the Netherstorm in the Burning Crusade is full of Void Walkers eating the mana, or the raw nether that they're sucking out with those machines, which are the energies being sent to Kael'thas in Tempest Keep. But one of them's been overrun with void things. But this is just, it is still a wild leap from random Burning Crusade quests to big bad of the War Within. So, presumably, Dimensius is coming to eat Azeroth, even though he was a level 30 elite in the Burning Crusade. So he's leveled up a bit since then. But
boy, he must have took a whole stack of juice somewhere, and gotten buffed up big time, huh?
Yeah, I kind of like that they've brought back a character for this, if it is indeed the same guy. But
yeah,
they're gonna have to do a lot of heavy lifting to make me convinced that this level 30 quest NPC is actually something we should be worried about.
Maybe it was just like a mental projection. You know, it's like, it wasn't actually him. It was just like some sort of astral projection through the void.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe some kind of thing like that. But good find. That is a good find. So there you go. So maybe not brand new. Maybe just upgraded significantly from the old days. But yes, that is kind of one of the big pieces of information that we get out of this quest line as we're chasing down the Harbinger, and then they, through the course of events, and I think it's Locust Walker who tells us that is Xal'atath, the much beloved knife refugee, and she's got plans, but the big sort of information, right, is the Radiant Song. This isn't something unique to Azeroth. This sort of chain of events has happened before, and and it seems to weigh pretty heavy on Illyria, that through this quest line that her weaknesses are used against her. At one point we have to fight this sort of version of Turalyon, and she is doing this sort of classic thing at the end of the quest line where she's like, well, I'm gonna try to take myself off the board, which we totally know won't work. I mean, that's not an option. You can't just disappear. And of course we have to go back and tell Khadgar, oh, this is what happens, and we can talk to him a little bit. Jaina, who was portaling out at the beginning of the cinematic at the start of the quest line, now portals back in, and she can't find Magni. Oh, look, the speaker, nowhere to be found just when we need him most, although it does seem like we will get to him eventually. But that is kind of the rhythm of this early part, I think, is introducing us to more of this structure within the void, who some of the bigger players are, people like myself, introducing us to characters that probably are going to be important. I doubt this is the last time we see Locust Walker, so getting us familiarized with him. And then, I enjoyed the tour across Northrend, getting to go back to Ulduar. Super fun. That's the first time I've taken the Dragon Blight to Ulduar tour via dragon riding. That was a blast. God bless that dragon riding. It is the fucking best, and I'm so glad that they made that happen everywhere. My time lost Proto Drake, dragon riding in Storm Peaks. That might be the peak. That might be the peak for me. The peak experience of all traveling. But that is kind of where we start and end Khadgar all the way around, and finding out that Xal'atath is the Harbinger, and we're in for some, like you said, apocalyptic visions here. Along with this, there was a short story that was released and focusing on Illyria and her search for, well, she knows where he is, but her search for her son, to go talk to her son, Eretor, talked about before, her son with Turalyon, and to try to have some words with him where she essentially tries to tell him to stay out of this fight that is coming up because she's worried about him. Little does she know when she goes to Silvermoon to go see her son that Turalyon is also there, and they've been kind of estranged, and so it's a little awkward, and there's many words spent saying how much they miss and love each other, but they're not having that actual word or sentences be spoken. It's mostly unspoken. But it focuses more on her and Eretor and kind of getting to know him a little bit, since she doesn't really know him that well at all. But the big revelation, I think, coming out of that story for me, maybe for some other folks, this is the child of light and dark. Combination of both now. And he reveals that he has tattoos, which I appreciate, on one arm. It is a dragon that is like light colored, and on the other it is a dragon that is dark colored. Like, so he's got like the light and the dark, like physically tattooed now onto his body as well. And God bless Illyria for being a mom who doesn't mind her son's tattoos, because my mom still does not like mine. So that was she's already a better mom in my book than she may have been at one point when she abandoned her child. And then I know she had her reasons, but a lot of hue and cry, Jez, from the Horde community about Turalyon apparently just traipsing around Silvermoon like it's no big deal, although they did hint that he had to sneak in, so he probably had to sneak out. So there was some concern about that, but one of the other big things in this story was that they very much were direct about talking about the rebuild of Silvermoon and how there is work being done to it. So we know we're going there, and we're going to spend some time, it sounds like, in Midnight, where we have to protect the Sunwell. Couple that with what we've just heard about this Void Lord devouring planets and the Radiant Song being a signal. I think this Void Lord is on his fucking way, and we're probably in a lot of trouble, and we're going to have Eretor probably play a significant role being in between all of that. So this definitely sets the stage for some interesting, spicy, familial dynamics as we head into this World Soul Saga. But as a strong proponent of the Horde, Jez, does it upset you at all that the Regent of Stormwind is just walking up into your city like it's no big deal?
It's really intriguing, because clearly they're working towards something here. Like, we also, I don't know if you did the Draenei Heritage questline as well.
No, but I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of, I won't spoil the whole thing for people who are interested in doing it, but it's not really a spoiler, since it's important to know for this conversation, I suppose. But go and play the Draenei questline if you haven't already, and pause this podcast. But the Heritage questline culminates with Velen hinting that he wants to build a new capital city for the Draenei on Azeroth, and he's even got like a hologram showing the design of the capital city they want to build.
Ooh.
Now, it follows the theme of a lot of heritage quests hinting at future plans for Azeroth. Like in the end of the Orc quest line, there's also the Thunder Lizard spirit of Durotar, and I can't remember his name, but he's a cute Thunder Lizard, and he's all like, oh, this land will be healed in the future, and he sort of gives you a vision of the because it's all flooded out from the Cataclysm, right? And all the Thunder Lizards are dead. Rip. And he implies that in the future the land's going to look different, right? So it increasingly, and like we've also got Balameth, which is very Night Elf starting zone-ish. We've sort of got this coalescence of potential opportunities for Blizzard to revamp some of the world, and maybe revamp some of the starting areas for different races, because Exile's Reach ain't it. Exile's Reach ain't it, man. It's got to go. I told him before. I told him at that War Within event. I said to Holly Longdale, that Exile's Reach is trash.
You went to the source. Oh
I
my.
went to the source. Yeah, I spoke to her. I said, Holly, sorry, in a much more respectful tone. Exile's Reach is trash. You gotta get rid of it. It's harming the new player experience because when I was a kid, I played Forsaken and I was in Tearsful Glades, and it immediately got me sucked into the whole universe of WoW. Exile, nobody's getting sucked into WoW because of Exile's Reach or Battle for Azeroth being thrown into the middle of the storyline. But anyway, that's a tangent. So, pulling it back to Silvermoon and Tyrallion hanging out there. I mean, Horde players can hang around in Balameth, and there's like a little debuff on you saying you're being watched intently. So like, it still kind of hints that there's still this sort of tension there, you know? And I suppose like it sort of hints that maybe in the future, you know, Silvermoon City will be I mean, potentially, like, they've already told us that Silvermoon's being revamped for Midnight expansion, which is after the War Within. So if Silvermoon and the surrounding area is actually like a leveling zone for both factions, like the northern half of the Eastern Kingdom sounds like that is going to be where we play that expansion. Maybe Silvermoon's the main capital city of the expansion. You know, and maybe Horde and Alliance end up going there as part of the, you know, maybe we're protecting the Sunwell again from being corrupted by Dementius or something. I don't know. But maybe that's the, you know, the heart of the expansion, and the Alliance have to, you know, make a little station there for the time being. And then maybe, you know, the expansion after that is Northrend. So who knows? Maybe Velen builds the capital city for the Draenei on Northrend instead. You know, and that becomes the capital city for that expansion. You know, we hang out with the Draenei, the Horde hang out there as well. So there's all sorts of weird stuff knocking off when they're gradually working through revamping some of these zones. And I wouldn't be surprised if the expansion after that one, maybe that takes place in Kalimdor, and they revamp some of Kalimdor, and you know, and then they do another expansion, they revamp some more of the Eastern Kingdoms, maybe the bottom half of. Maybe it could be the bottom half of the Eastern Kingdoms and the bottom half of Kalimdor revamped, and that's the expansion. And then we can, you know, revamp Outland. Maybe the Legion comes back in 10 years, and we can go there again. And then we can cycle through it. But there's, I suppose there's lots they could do there. It doesn't annoy me as long as they, you know, flesh it out and make sense. Also, before we move on, I need to come back to Dementius for a moment. I kind of did him dirty, actually, when I was talking here. Because I thought it was just some random little quest, but now I actually looked up the quest properly and looked at some pictures of it. I remember this quest better now. Dementius is actually huge. He's raid boss sized when you see him. Yeah, so like I remember not doing this quest very often because it does require a group, because there are elites everywhere. And it's like it's inside. It's a group quest. It's a 5-man group quest, and it's inside one of the Mana Forges, and he's raid boss sized. And you don't really kill him. You just, like, you and an army of Ethereals just sort of banish him out of the Nether. Because the Nether Storm is basically halfway into the Nether, right?
Yeah.
And he's actually a huge mob. He's a giant Voidwalker. He's not just some tiny little Voidwalker. And also, the lore of him eating Koresh was previously established, but I can't find out where. There is a fan art of Dementius, for a Hearthstone fan art for Dementius that I've just found, and the title is Dementius the All-Devouring, Doom of Koresh, Bane of the Ethereals, and it's Dementius Hearthstone fan art card. I'm trying to find where this is established that he destroyed Dementius. And if you go that Dementius destroyed Koresh, sorry, I thought this was all new lore, but it's not. It's old lore. And if you there's another Voidwalker boss in Mana Tombs, another Voidlord called Pandemonius, and his entry in the dungeon guide talks about how he worked with Dementius to devour Koresh. So I think it might be the adventure guide. So this infamous Voidlord, this is Pandemonius, not Dementius. This infamous Voidlord is also known as the Duke of Chaos, the Eater of Nations, and the World Slayer. Pandemonius was one of the commanders serving under Dementius when the ethereal homeworld of Koresh was destroyed. He was later bound by Nexus Prince Shafar and forced to continue sating his unbending hunger in service to the ethereal. So, yeah, this is established previous lore. So he's not just some random. I did him dirty. So if there's any lore nerds listening to this going, "Hey, Dementius is not just some random quest NPC," I stand corrected.
Yeah, it was all new to me. I stand corrected as well. I thought that they were coming up with this on the fly, but
no.
Nice,
This is
nice
all. Yeah. So we're probably going to see Pandemonius as well. I mean,
okay.
You can kill him in the Burning Crusade because he's a boss in Manitomb's dungeon, but demons don't really die. If he counts as a demon, I don't know if we just call him a demon because he's a Void Lord, but these kind of entities don't really die. They just get sucked back into the Nether and they end up coming back out. Like, we don't really know the nature of Void Lords really that well. So, but yeah, there you go, Void Lords.
There it is. Hey, listen, you made it right. You know, for both of us. So thank you. Good
problem.
Call. To kind of tie up this part of it as well, to give credit also where credit is due. The discussion around Erator has been going on for a long time, and I want to give credit to Talius and Inevitel, who put out a video years ago where they talked about, this is during the Legion era, where Erator could actually be the child of light and shadow that was referenced in a Naru prophecy, not Illidan. So if you remember the whole "I am my scars" thing, right? When the Naru comes and like locks him up in the, Zera locks him up in the light and tries to heal him, and he's like, "I am my scars," and everybody cheered and started yelling at everywhere they went. Well, that was supposedly being done because he was believed at that moment in time to be the child of light and shadow that would fulfill this prophecy. But some discussion as to whether or not that should be Erator. Again, child of light and shadow. He's got it literally tattooed on him now. That could be really interesting piece as that moves forward, and what role does he play as a uniter of some kind, as sort of like the Blade Daywalker situation? Is he gonna have to choose when one of them goes off the rails? Because we've both seen how each side can go too far. So
I was really pulling for this idea of Terralion going mental. And the Army of Light being kind of fascist, because like if you do the quest to, is it the Heritage quest line or the quest to unlock them? If you do the quest to unlock Mag'har Orcs, you actually see the Army of Light fascistically taking over Draenor, and they are forcing the Mag'har Orcs to become Lightbound, like they were trying to force Illidan to become Lightbound.
Right.
So they can go too far too.
Yes.
So there's quite some interesting stuff at play here, and also like the Child of Light and Shadow, that could be Arator, but it could also be what's his name now? The dwarf kid, the child of
shit,
you know what I mean?
About him. The nerd.
Yeah. The nerd. It could be him. The nerd. I forgot his name. I don't know Alliance characters. They're irrelevant. But
oh my god. How dare you?
Oh man, but yeah, it's interesting. Like the lore going into this is more interesting than it has been for a while, I think, because there's so much voidy stuff that you could link back. It's like, is N'Zoth still alive? Why did N'Zoth want Xal'atath to leave his knife behind, her knife behind, its knife behind? I don't really know what Xal'atath is, and there's also like Ashara. Queen Ashara is still lurking out there.
Yeah, where's she at?
Where's she at? And she at the end of that raid, is it Ny'alotha? I can't remember the name of the raid now. It is Ny'alotha, I think. I'm getting my cosmic voids mixed up.
Yeah.
But she says, "I'm going to the true seat of power," which you'd think is probably the Void Lords if she's going to upgrade from the old gods, you know, because the old gods are weapons of the Void, apparently. God, there's so much. Actually, they've got their work cut out for them, man.
Yeah,
Like when they tie all these threads together, like Chris Metzen and the team, because the World of Warcraft's gone some weird places when you look at the books and all the extra stuff, and you know, like Sylvanas gonna have a role to play because she's Illyria's sister, you know, and what's Sylvanas' deal? I got a feeling Sylvanas won't be involved because everyone's sick of her, but there's just so much to this that could be tied together. It's intriguing.
Yeah, it's also talk about like putting all the threads together, right? That's going to be a huge challenge. I think the other sort of challenge that I see on the horizon as we start launching into this and we're talking about these really large, cosmic forces is they have to strike that balance between too cosmic and like just cosmic enough, because if they go too big and too far, that doesn't seem to land well with the player base, where it eventually it's like, all right, we're cosmic beings of ultimate power, and then hey, I gotta save these 5 bunny rabbits that are trying to make a burrow. It's just the wild pendulum swings that can happen when you go too far out there. I mean, it's part of the reason why I think Shadowlands was so difficult for them to manage, is that you're talking about some real way out there stuff, and you got, I don't know if Ian or somebody was out there and saying, oh yeah, what you're seeing in the Shadowlands is just like one of the things that could manifest in that space. You're like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like way big, galaxy brain, and then some. It loses people, surprisingly to me, because I love all that shit, but it's going to be a tricky balance. And we always go back to that cosmology chart from the frickin' Chronicle, and everybody's been holding that thing up, and there's the light, there's the void, and that clash is just bound to happen. And so it does feel very much like that is a huge part of this arc that we're going to be seeing over the next, I don't know, 6 years or however long it's going to take to tell the story. 6 to 8 years,
6,000 years.
Yeah. We're gonna see. It's gonna be wild. But yeah, if you haven't played through the intro quest line to all of this, you'll be able to tie together to see what we're talking about. But I highly recommend playing through that, reading the short story, because it really gives you a good flavor now of that new book that we're starting. It's no more Dragon Isles, no more whatever's going on over there. Now we are fully starting to focus elsewhere, different forces, different threats, and heading into that direction. So I think we're off on a good foot. We have a bit of a mystery. We know that there's some danger. We got some good character development happening. So I'm invested. I'm interested. It feels good. So sounds like you're on board so far.
Yeah, man. I've given the benefit of the doubt before. I remember going into Shadowlands thinking, the jailer could be cool. 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 As we got through more and more patches, they're going somewhere with this. It'll be okay in the end. Yep, it seems stupid now, but it's gonna be great. You wait. At the end, it's gonna be. So yeah, they've, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm cautiously optimistic, and also it's Chris Metzen's story arc too, and I kind of want WoW to return to some of its darker, grittier, sort of even bloody roots, from like back in the day, Warcraft 3 and stuff like that. And but I don't know if that's what other people want. I don't know if it's just me and I'm bloodthirsty or something, but. Like I said before on the show, like I loved it when the tree burned down. Yes. That was Warcraft 3 all over, And I suppose they were trying to recreate Arthas, the slaughter of Stratholme, right? They were trying to recreate that, end justifies the means kind of thing. But they went really far with it, and the ends did not justify the means. So they just well, I mean, you could debate that. Probably
That was a
not
whole
very,
shit show.
Yeah,
Anyway, for other reasons.
Yeah, it didn't. No, it didn't really justify the means at all. You know, and in any sense. But I think it was more the fact that Sylvanas didn't even question the plan. You know, and then like she didn't even know all the plan, and she was just willing to commit genocide. You know, essentially without really having a good enough motivation to have done so. Besides, I mean, as a Horde player, I think genocide in the Night Elves is reason enough, you know. the rest of the electorate did not think so. But you know,
horrible.
I don't like Alliance, man. I'm sorry, I just don't like it.
That's all right. That's all right. I have to uphold my end, and you have to uphold yours. That's the light and the shadow that we're bringing to this.
The child of light and shadow.
That's right. That's right. That Unshackled Fury is the child of light and shadow. That's really what we're coming to discover here. One last thing about this is that if reading is your thing, there is a new book coming. The Voices Within, which is a short story collection centering around characters that have imports in the War Within. One of those short stories is the one about Illyria and her family. No surprise to anyone, the recently laid off Christy Golden has a story about Anduin that will probably make me cry, and Jez will laugh at me for it. But you know what? That's what we're here for, and that's what we do. And I am not afraid of any of this, but that should be coming. Oh, it says November, but I don't know. I never trust these things.
Even though she got laid off, she's still gonna publish a book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got one short story in there, I believe, and yeah, there's still.
I hope she still works with Blizzard as a sort of, because like I do like the stories that she put out there, the books and stuff. I don't know exactly why they decided to lay off Christy and a bunch of other people, but it might have been a case of like too many chefs, maybe they really want to, give Chris Metzen a run at it or something. I don't know, but we'll see.
It sounded like she was, and I talked about this on the last show, is that, I'm an unabashed Christy Golden fan. She was very nice to me at BlizzCon. I'm a big fan, and to do her dirty does not make me happy or anyone else happy. And
no.
she talked about many times it wasn't just Warcraft, it was like all of Blizzard that she was involved in different ways. And so yeah, I assume that these cuts are being made because they feel like there's too many people in the story and franchise development. But Jesus Christ, she's been around since the old days, like writing books. Like next to Metzen, there are a few that know as much about Warcraft's lore as she does. She helped build it. So to let her go,
yeah, I don't know.
No, not my favorite. But The Voices Within, we'll have that story and others. So if you're into that, go and check it out. The other sort of big component of this patch, which I did check it out a little bit, is the Mists of Pandaria time running, where it's another one of these limited time events, and there's it's a different set of events where it's kind of canonical that this is happening. It's interesting how they're doing this, where the Infinite Dragonflight is the ones making this possible. So you create a character, you go in, and they tell you, you're like, well, we're taking another look at this from a different lens because we can. So it's not totally separate like Plunderstorm was. So to me, that actually kind of is an interesting way to blend these two, the retail and time running together. But I don't know how much I'm actually going to be doing this, because I made my Fury Warrior and I jumped in, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know if I like this as much as I remember. Pandaria was cool, but Fury Warriors leveling, I don't know that I like that much, but I'll have to take a look. The other interesting thing about this is, and it also plays into our timing for real life and the show and everything else, they finally let us know how long it's running officially, because there was some guessing based on dates we were seeing in the alpha. They tell you, and by the time this episode comes out, it'll be about 91 days left. So that puts us right about August 19th, August 20th, that Tuesday. So it very much seems like August 20th is either going to be like the pre-patch day, or it's going to be launch day for the War Within. And based on the alpha development I'm seeing and the pace at which they're doing it, I would not be surprised if August 20th was the launch of War Within. So this can help take up some of that time if you're still logging in. I have seen some things getting changed and nerfed, and some people being unhappy about how much XP you actually get from the magic cloak they give you and some other things. But Jez, I know you're just all about mop time running, right? Like, I know that this is the banner that you have been running around with since it was announced, right? This is your jam. This is your new mini game.
No.
Oh.
No, very much not. My guild really likes it, but
yeah.
I just don't have enough time to go back and do content that I've already done.
Yeah.
And I know it's remixed, but it's weird. Like, MOP is quite fresh in my mind. Like, Throne of... I didn't really do the first tier of the raids, but I did do Throne of Thunder, and then I quit again and didn't do Siege of Orgrimmar. And I don't know, I didn't like that expansion that much. I kept coming back and then getting burned out. I hated the daily routine back then. Like the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, or whatever.
Had a lot of them.
The dailies there sucked. I hated doing those dailies so bad it made me quit the game. It's one of the few times I've quit the game because I didn't like doing the dailies. But I know it's a really popular expansion. Thematically, I really liked it. It had a really great story, really great quest, really great quests. But the gameplay loop just, I don't know. I was kind of over it at the time. Are you playing it at all, Mop Remix?
I logged in, I created a character. You've got the first little bit that you've got to do, and that's kind of what I've seen so far. I was, as I've talked about on the show before, when it was originally announced that it was Mists of Pandaria, I was like, I'm gonna quit. I'm fucking pandas. I'm not doing fucking pandas. And then it turned out to be a great expansion. The land is beautiful. The art was amazing. The music's great. The characters are fun. Like, it's a great expansion. Like, don't get me wrong. But I am very much like you in the sense that, like, once I've done something, I don't know how much I want to do it again. That's why I don't have any alts of any value, because I've already run through stuff, and I don't know how much of that I want to experience again, unless it's something super cool, like the quest in Northrend, or I think it's Kel Sarar. It's the other sword where you get the battered hilt. And you can run through that quest line. That's fucking Sarar, amazing. Kel Sarar. Okay. Yeah. I love that. So I've done that a couple times because it was just so great in my mind. So time running, I think this might be a period of time where I'm going to be catching up on other games that I haven't finished. Jedi Survivor probably being number one on my list. And some stuff like that. Yeah, it's so far, holy shit, phenomenal.
I've heard good things. I haven't even finished the first one yet. I just end up. I'm addicted to Fallout 76 at the minute.
Oh, because I watched show.
Yeah, I watched the TV show, and I played Fallout 76 when it first came out, and it was crash-tastic. I kind of enjoyed it, but it was crash-tastic, and there was no real end game, and there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to do, so I kind of bounced off it. But I've gone back to it because of the TV show, and it's a completely new game. Like, still crashes a lot. There's stuff to actually do now, and stuff to actually grind, and you can perfect your build, and it's really deep. Like how in depth you can get with it. So I've kind of been playing that for a while until I get bored of that. And also I've been looking at the new Diablo season recently, and everyone's saying how good it is again. And
A lot of praise.
yeah, season 4 is really good, and they fixed itemization, and the mob density is much higher. So you're mostly just killing. You're not looking around for things to kill as much. So now I'm thinking, like, do I want to play Diablo again? But yeah, season 4 is not season 4 in general, like a mopped remix, and having to do the old raids again. I'm not really feeling it. So once we've done Ahead of the Curve, I'm probably going to bounce until the War Within, I think.
There you go. Yeah. So if this is your jam, you will have a good 3 months to enjoy that time. There are some rewards, cosmetics, mounts, that sort of thing. So if that's your jam and you want to take that tour back in the old days, have at it, have fun. I hope you do. Along those same lines, I think it's the day that this launches. The day this episode goes out, Cataclysm Classic is supposed to be launching. I think I've said it before, and I'll say it again for the millionth time. I don't think the Cataclysm is Classic. I think Classic was supposed to be everything that came before it. Otherwise, the fuck are we doing? Where does it end, Jez? When it comes to Classic, where does this end? Are we getting mock time running to see if people are interested enough in it to get a mock Classic, a Miss Classic? Does that then go to Warlords of Draenor Classic? Are we gonna have a WoD Classic, Jez? I know we talked about this before, but my God, it feels like we're just gonna keep going.
Maybe. I still think it's weird, and I kind of feel like part of me wonders, right, if this, because a lot of what drives WoW is player retention, reducing player churn, right?
Yep.
So like stopping people from subscribing, and because if you're a WoW Classic player, then you know, keeping them subscribed means you've got to release the Classic expansions probably on a quicker, faster cadence than they were back then, right? But that means eventually you're going to run out of Classic expansions to do. So then what do? Do you start doing Season of Discovery Burning Crusade? Season of Discovery Wrath of the Lich King? Do you keep doing Season of Discovery Vanilla over and over again? Like, how long is Season of Discovery going to run? Are they going? Because I don't know what the level cap is now, but there's still kind of stuff they could probably do in Season of Discovery to keep that interesting. But then I also wonder, my conspiracy theory that they're gradually revamping all of Azeroth for like a proper relaunch where it's like, okay, all the starting zones are revamped now. Go forth and enjoy this new leveling experience, which will take you from 1 to 100 just in Azeroth, with a sort of, with future expansions, God knows where they're going to put them. Are they going to start revamping like Zandalar and stuff like that? It's kind of wild. I mean, there's still places in Azeroth we haven't really explored, like Undermine, the Goblin homeland, and God knows what else they could squeeze into Azeroth.
That'll be patch 11.1. Undermine.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Could you do a whole expansion in Undermine? Maybe. Or will it be part of War Within because it's underground?
Yeah.
But it's also canonically, Undermine is also an island, I think. So it's just weird when I think about like how are they sort of shaping all this content? Like how much Classic can they really squeeze in there?
Yeah.
And then when do you have to start consider the fact that maybe your players are getting really old now, and maybe you should start looking for new ones. Maybe you even start thinking about World of Warcraft 2 and stuff like that. It's weird when you think on those kind of timelines, but for the immediate future, I suppose we are probably going to end up with, what came after Cataclysm? Was it Warlords of Draenor? No, it wasn't. It was Mr. Pandaria, wasn't it?
Miss. It's Cata,
so we're gonna,
Miss, and then Warlords.
Yeah, so that's weird. We're having Mr. Pandaria remix right now, which presumably is going to satisfy everyone's nostalgia for Mr. Pandaria. Are they then going to do Mr. Pandaria Classic on top of it?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe this is like a litmus test to see how interested people are in it.
That's weird, man.
I know.
That's weird.
A battle
Weird,
for
bro.
Azeroth Classic?
Jeez,
I mean, where does
Shadowlands
it
Classic.
end? Yeah.
Shadowlands Classic.
Shadowlands Classic. Can you fucking imagine? Can you imagine? Oh my god. It does beg these questions though about, you know, the nostalgious days of vanilla, right? Where the idea was it was pre-Cataclysm because people were upset about the world changes, and now you are reintroducing them and taking that pre-Cata version away again. Like I don't know. They're polling, or when they send out these when they send out these, you know, surveys, I guess the data must be telling them to do it, because they would, you know better than I would. They wouldn't spend a dime on this if they didn't believe that they were going to get some kind of return on their investment. So something somewhere must be telling them that people want this, which is crazy to me. But
Yeah.
I've been around long enough where, you know, maybe because we experienced it and new players haven't, maybe that they're interested in it and they're gonna be like, oh, I want to see what it was like. Like I saw on Reddit, somebody posted, hey, elder millennials, what was the grunge era like? And I'm like, fuck, how do you not know what that is? Like, what do you mean it was a grunge era like? I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe Cata is the grunge era and people just wanted to see what it was like, you know? I don't know. But
Oh man, I don't know if I'd call Cata the grunge era.
yeah.
Man, it's more like the hair metal era, maybe.
Yeah.
I really
it's-
like Cataclysm's leveling experience. Like, I really enjoyed making alts in Cataclysm, but
Really?
the end game was not the
Mm.
best. Not the best.
And it was weird. It was weird.
was a
It
bit
just
weird.
it was very disjointed. You know, it just, we were
Yeah.
in different, these kind of made up areas that just, I don't know. It just felt weird. But
I dropped off in Firelands because I did not enjoy that raid, but I think part of it was because I was tanking at the time, and I think really I didn't enjoy tanking, not the raid. I don't know.
it was harsh. Visually, there was a very harsh place to be all the time. And that was,
Yeah, Firelands was, yeah.
ooh, it was brutal. But if it's your thing, Cata Classic is out here. And in fact, to celebrate it, but one thing I did enjoy, World of Warcraft's YouTube page has a 4K version now of the Cataclysm opening cinematic remastered. And regardless of anything I think about the gameplay itself, that cinematic is a fucking banger. That thing is so great. The music is awesome. Like, you feel the power and like the whole thing of Deathwing. Like, it's fantastic. So if you haven't watched it in a while, you should go watch it. It's great. So we got that going on. And then before we get to our last thing, I did want to drop this one piece of alpha news, because I don't cover a lot of alpha because there's a lot of spoilers and shit and I don't want to talk about it. But there is, Jez, a major development in the alpha that I had to make sure that I talked about on this episode. And it is very relevant to something that we just talked about. Because apparently, in the War Within, the dog that you had on your farm in Mists of Pandaria will now be able to be a full-time companion for you. And go everywhere that you go. That is the kind of gameplay I came for. And I don't know why it took so long. That is a fantastic development. So, not going to cover any other alpha news at this point. So if that's your jam and you want to see all the spoilers, because they've been going zone by zone for the last month, you're welcome to go onto Wowhead and see what the Gothic Sprite's been putting up over there. I won't be touching it. And when we come back, by the time we come back, we should be in the full throes of pre-patch and getting ready to go. So if you came here for your alpha news, I apologize. But there you go. I gave you a little.
I will say one thing about alpha though.
Go ahead.
Have you seen what they've done to demonology warlocks?
I heard that they like messed with your jam again.
They did. Like they took away a lot of the mobility because they're like, warlocks shouldn't have this high DPS and then not have to sacrifice mobility like other casters do, which I think is fair enough. But like initially they went too far, and it was like, oh god, now I can't do any damage unless I'm standing still. But then they've done a huge revamp on the talent trees, and they've given us the ability to summon 2 raid bosses from Antorus in our damage rotation.
Saw that.
The two dogs. So I'm like, yep, take the mobility. I'm good. Don't need mobility. And there's just demons flying all over the place now as a demonology warlock. I actually feel bad for other classes. Like when you play the demonology warlock, you've got this huge amount of space where huge demons are popping out all over the place. And then you play another class and it's just like, yeah, I got this gun. I got this sword.
I have more haste.
How much haste have you got?
I got more. That's it. I can't. This one. That is the one thing I've been laughing about. I guess to touch on that real quick is the Fury stuff. Because I've talked about it before. We have a Slayer tree. I think that's cool. Everything so far, to be quite honest, is super boring when it comes to warriors. Like I'm just like, there's some stat boosts and you can make some decisions about the stat, or I can use execute more. I mean, no offense, folks, but big fucking whoop. Like that's not exciting to me. Like when I hear about all your stuff with all giant demons popping out and like shit going wild, like that is class fantasy. That is amazing. Like that is what I expect. That's why I was saying, like, we need something where like you transform into like a fucking Vrykul for 5 minutes or something, and you're just like going ham on whatever. Like that is the fantasy, right? Ultimate Warrior stuff,
Yeah. I actually said that to Maria Hamilton. Is that her name, Maria Hamilton?
Yes.
I said that to her at the event in one of my interviews. I said, I feel kind of bad for the classes because you've given my demonology warlock the ability to summon a laser beam firing pit lord, which appears halfway out of a portal and looks amazing. And then like I switch over to my hunter, who's got like these tiny little shadow bullets that you can't even see.
Yeah.
And like some of the other classes, which I think are really lacking in the animation and the special effects department when you compare them to what they're doing with demonology warlocks. And she said, yeah, well, maybe some people don't want their class to look that flashy. And I'm just thinking, I think everyone wants their class to look that cool and impressive. And, and so like, I do agree that some of those hero talents are so boring after you've played like a Diabolist or even some of the other warlock ones. Like one of the other warlock trees adds like a demon that pops out and copies one of your attacks every now and then, like a Shinigami from Death Note. It actually looks like a Shinigami from Death Note, and he just pops out every now and then and throws an extra shadow bolt in there, and it's just, oh well, that's really cool. Like I've got a little ghost friend followed me around. But like all the other classes I tried, like they just weren't anywhere near as interesting or as impressive. And I hope that they get some iteration. But I didn't play every class, of course, and some classes were more developed than those. Blizzard really loves demonology right now. They love demonology warlocks. I can just tell.
Enjoy that.
Yeah. I will, because it was a long time they didn't give a shit about demonology warlocks. But I freely admit they love demonology warlocks right now. I'm living for it.
As you should, because let me tell you, as a long time and forever and only ever been a Fury Warrior, I know that warriors are like a base class and all that blah blah blah. But I go back to Legion, artifacts, like fucking Paladins got the Ashbringer, bro. Like that's like the end all be all. Like you got the weapon, so I'm thinking to myself, warriors, we gotta have Charlemagne. Like, let's go. You're going to kill my boy. Give me the sword. Like, what's going on? Oh, no. We got some boo-boo swords of the Valarjar that no one's ever heard of or gives a shit about. And the design was, like, kind of weird. And I'm like, whatever. Get the fuck out of here. Now, they did bring in the axe, which was kind of neat. I'll give you that. But where were all the swords of lore that we could have had? Or the big two-handed weapons and that we could have been running around with? No, none of that. And I go back to that because it's like, to me, there have been so many times where for like what is supposed to be one of the base, most recognizable kind of and I'll say this with all peace and love to my own people, generic sort of class, like a warrior. Like you have some iteration of that in almost every kind of sword and sorcery fantasy setting. Where is all the badassery? Where is all like the cool stuff that makes you feel like, yes, I did this thing? Like a lot of it's just in my head because I have this sort of vision of what it's supposed to be, and I don't know, maybe I embody that myself. But
sorry, go on.
something's missing.
Yeah. I remember when they added Bloodthirst for Fury Warrior. That's the spell, right?
Yep.
And it was part of like a revamp to make them more viable because everyone was playing arms because of Mortal Strike. I think this is going back to vanilla, possibly.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh, Bloodthirst, that's badass. I bet they jump on and sink their teeth into the guy and take a chunk out of him or something. It's like, no, it's just, I don't think it even had an animation. It just had a little blood splat or something.
Yep.
And I remember my friend when I was playing with back then was a Tauren Fury Warrior. I remember him being disappointed that Bloodthirst had basically no graphic. Yeah.
I mean,
so there's a lot they
Odin's-
could do there.
Odin's Fury, when they added that in Legion, that was like kind of like cool because it had its own animation and that looked great. And I'm glad that they finally brought that back. But it just, to your point, when you look at certain classes, warlocks and some other ones, there is more. And I'm not saying that I need to have, I don't need like Aragorn with the ghost army like coming down and like unleashing some sort of like ghost warrior attack. Like I don't need that, but like you could give me something that is within the class fantasy that you're like, ooh, this is cool, I can't wait to do this thing, as opposed to, oh, I'm trying to hit this, I don't know, enrage window. Big fucking whoop. Like
You know what? They should make Fury Warriors more bloody. Like when you do some of the big hits, like huge chunks of gore comes flying off the enemy. There's gore in the game already.
Yes.
But I'd ramp up the blood and guts, if you're playing a Fury Warrior. Yeah.
Everywhere I walk, there should be like bloody treads or some shit. Like it's that kind of a thing. It's like when, I asked Ian when I got the chance, I want to see warriors have a headbutt as an interrupt because that would be badass. Like instead of like, oh, pummel, boop, you can't cast your spell now. Like as opposed to smashing your head on the bridge of somebody's nose and like, oh, and they messed up their spellcast. That feels right. So as they go along in the alpha and they're doing these hero talents, like I keep hoping that they'll add more, but they may not. So if you're out there and you're enjoying your, warlockiness, fucking revel in that shit. Wrap it up like a blanket. Settle in. So before we go, one big last final topic here. Dragonflight, sort of in review, if you will. We've had it now. We've experienced it. We've gone through its full cadence. And we're stepping out of it into something new. And so now we have a chance to look back sort of in full and take that high level overview of the expansion, kind of where it sits, what it's done, all of those sorts of things. So as we look back over the last year and a half plus that we've had Dragonflight, the first big question that I would ask you, Jez, as somebody who has incredible visibility into the gaming industry, did Dragonflight save World of Warcraft?
I think it did. I think it really did. But it wasn't just Dragonflight itself. It was also like the classic, the double down on classic, and the Season of Discovery, and also leaning into the hardcore mode stuff, because that was like an add-on, and then they were like, players really like this, let's pivot really hard and add this to the game as a dedicated mode. I think all of that stuff, and being proactive, and also getting the patches out much faster, but also giving us a really big roadmap. And then generally speaking, they hit that roadmap every time. They said we're gonna deliver this in this time frame. They hit it every single time, and they really ramped up that consistency. So it's more than just Dragonflight itself, but it's the Dragonflight era, I think, has really improved World of Warcraft. I think there's still work to do, especially talk about like I think to get to WoW to a truly healthy place, they've got to revamp the new player experience. Because like I ranted earlier on, Exile's Reach, terrible. But I don't know. How do you feel? How do you? Because like we play WoW differently, right? Me and you. Like I'm like I'm Raider and I'm Mythic Plus player mainly. You know, I do damage meters and you know that's my fun. Is watching the damage meter go up and down. You know.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about it as someone who plays the way you play?
You know, I think back to Shadowlands and how low we were, and granted there was a lot of like real world external things going on that I think coupled with the game itself, but people were just not happy, and it was a miserable time to be part of the community, I think. And so to come out of that, I thought the raids were really fun, you know, as primarily just a heroic level raider. You know, I thought the raids were fun. I thought the land was great. It was a softer story for sure, in the sense of, you know, you talk about kind of the grittier parts of WoW or the Warcraft sort of franchise. It got away from that. It really did. And I think it was intentional to try to bring a lightness where we were so down. And so to have, as you rightly touched on, the cadence, right? That patch cadence, that roadmap, where every time they put one out, I would say, man, here comes another one. Are they really going to hit this? And yeah, by God, they did. And so you add, I think, a lighter attitude with regular content, with good raids. I was really worried about the future of the franchise, and I am no longer worried about it, in the sense that I feel like it's in good hands right now. They've chased out a lot of the bad elements internally. They've brought back my personal Lord and Savior, Chris Metzen, so of course I'm going to be all about it. But the turnaround in terms of tone, cadence, responsiveness to the community, like all the feedback that they've taken and actually like done something with, it feels different. And again, I think you are saying this right, the Dragonflight era. So maybe not necessarily just the expansion, but this point in time where they had to know that they had bottomed out, and they had to do something drastic, something different. They had to make changes, and they did. And so now to come out to where we have been, I do think that it has saved the game, because it was on the road to maintenance in my mind, where it was going to be, you know, yeah, they were going to put out more stuff, but the player base was going to be, you know, pretty small in comparison to where it's been. And, you know, they were going to divert resources elsewhere because, yeah, there's that regular subscription thing, which nobody does because nobody can actually make it work anymore. But the focus was going to get moved away if they didn't hit the mark, and I think they did. So the sort of next step of that, and now in the hierarchy of World of Warcraft and its expansions, to think of, okay, now where does it sit? Where would I rank it in terms of all of the expansions that we've had? And I don't know, for me personally, because of the time and space and how it happened, Wrath for me will never be beat, because it was just too special of a time. It was too connected to the story. Like that for me, it just hit everything at the right. It was the height of the game when we had the most subscribers. Like that was it. That was the pantheon, really. You know, but behind that, it's like, well, Legion, and then Mists, Dragonflight. Like to me, it's now for me in that top 3. I think it's coming in at the top 3 in terms of ranking, and it's a little bit of a waffle there. I admit it could be 4, but it's right up in there for me in terms of where the expansions rank. So for you, as somebody who's been there since the beginning, where would you stack it up?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it was a softer story. And I think like they're probably they wanted to. That was totally intentional, and they pretty much hinted as much when I interviewed them. They were like, "Yeah, after COVID and Shadowlands, we wanted to have something of a palate cleanser, something a little bit more optimistic."
Yeah.
And I think that's fine, you know. But for me personally, it was a bit too Disneyfied a lot of the time, and also I think like Sarkareth wasn't a strong villain. And I kind of feel like Firak was wasted almost. As some people don't like Firak that much, but I almost feel like, and I kind of feel like all the villains, like, I would have done it a little bit differently. Razageth, Virunoth, Firak, and Iridikron are 4 of the best antagonists they've ever put together in a game. And I know Virunoth's a good guy now.
The Incarnates were phenomenal.
The Incarnates were phenomenal. Great, well written, and very different personalities, all of them. I think Virunoth becoming a good guy is probably good for the long-term play. But like, and I say Firak, I feel like Firak was a bit wasted, but at the same time, it's like, he was the big bad of the expansion, so kind of not wasted. Like, I love Firak's fight as well. His fight was really cool, and you know, the legendary axe. Like, I don't play classes that can use the axe, but the axe looked really badass.
I would love it. I would love it.
You can get it. Go and get it on LFR, man. Go and start the grind. Our poor main tank Death Knight. He had to get the bad luck protection all the way up to 100% before he got it. He killed Firak like dozens of times. I feel really bad for him. But yeah, I rank the expand overall. I rank it really high. Like the new profession system, I think it's really a big step in the right direction in making professions more interesting and relevant. I think like as an alchemist, I wish I could participate more in the daily what are they called now? The orders, because there's nothing really like alchemists can contribute to that, but they're adding NPC orders in the next expansion to combat that. So like I will be able to participate and make some extra gold. It's crazy when I log into my priest who's an enchanter and I see something there. It's like, oh, I get 2,000 gold just for clicking a button. Great. There's nothing like that for alchemists, which is really annoying. But so like yeah, the professions are great. Dragon riding being a permanent addition to the game, really cool. And this sort of getting away from the borrowed power mechanics, I think is really important for the health of the game as well. So yeah, I would rank Dragonflight really highly, and like, but it's hard to rank Dragonflight just by itself because it's really the era and the sort of the shift in thinking about how they approach World of Warcraft is really what saved World of Warcraft, and I'm pretty excited. And I will say another thing, you know, it's on one of your other points, because you were worried that they might deprioritize World of Warcraft and, you know, put it in maintenance mode and stuff like that. World of Warcraft is one of the most profitable games in history, and it remains so to this day. It is economically speaking, when you can guarantee that you're going to have income month over month, it makes it very, very easy to prioritize where to put your investments, right? And I know that, speaking to people at Microsoft, World of Warcraft is regarded as one of their absolute highest priorities, because it is one of the games that has the best profit margins. You know, it's relatively cheap to produce content for, because you know it's got simplistic, quote unquote, simplistic graphics. Like if you're making an expansion for Destiny, which has more photorealistic graphics, it's a lot more intensive to put that artwork together than it is for WoW. And World of Warcraft
This isn't Unreal Engine 5.
No, it's not. You know, and that has its downsides too. But the upside is that the cadence of producing content is very, very quick, and they've vastly improved their tools. Like, I couldn't believe it when I was doing the Xal'atath questline earlier, how the in-engine cutscene, how good they've gotten.
God.
I saw that on YouTube initially, and I thought I assumed it was pre-rendered. But it's actually in-engine with the facial motion capture and all that kind of stuff. Because the facial motion capture up until now has been awful in the cutscenes. Well, there just wasn't any. There wasn't any lip sync or anything like that. Like the NPCs just have this weird face, like looks like they're chewing kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they've massively improved that. So yeah, those bits will be more expensive, but it's still much cheaper than, you know, in some other games. And I think that's one of the reasons like most Destiny characters wear a helmet all the time, right? But I don't know, I digress. You know, and Microsoft has, because Microsoft recently closed a huge chunk of studios in
Right.
you know, and obviously Microsoft also, the Blizzard had layoffs as well, which from what I heard were planned, even if they hadn't acquired Activision. It was sort of like the whole industry is undergoing this course correction right now, where they overinvested during COVID, or well, you could say they overinvested, but you could also say like the competition was fiercer during COVID because there was more people playing, and to stay in competition with all like, you know, these service games like Fortnite and stuff, which are vacuuming up all the attention, they really had to invest heavily in remote workers and all that kind of stuff because of the various lockdowns, the various laws and all that kind of stuff. So, but now COVID's over, it's kind of like, well, we don't need that many people, we don't need so many remote people, and you've seen like a lot of the remote workers have been laid off, and you know, it sucks, it really does suck. But at the same time, you know, I was, you know, the rumors and the, you know, the hearsay in the industry is that like one of the reasons Microsoft has shut down some of these other studios that perhaps weren't able to bring as much value to proposition is so they could double down on games like World of Warcraft. You know, I've heard that World of Warcraft's going to have more vacancies. I've heard that Elder Scrolls Online is going to have more vacancies, and Fallout 76 is going to have more vacancies. So all these kind of like MMO-ish kind of games, these are what Microsoft really loves and really wants to invest in. So that makes me optimistic too. And I'm really like, I think, you know, like I said earlier, you know, there might be a little flash of World of Warcraft at the Xbox showcase coming up, or a flash of Blizzard. I don't think it'll be anything new. I think it'll just be sort of like a reminder that the War Within's coming. Or maybe it's another cinematic or something like that they'll debut. I don't know for sure. But I think you are going to see some, you know, positive content for World of Warcraft at the Microsoft Xbox showcase on June 9th, I think it is. And that sort of reaffirms their commitment to the game. So I'm really, really excited about the future of WoW. Really am.
Nice. Oh, that's excellent to hear. And yeah, it's the future is looking pretty bright, and that is such a welcome change for the end of this expansion versus the last. And so I guess the last question that I have for you on this and for this episode is, we'll take it as an era then, as opposed to the expansion specifically, is what will you remember the Dragonflight era for the most?
I don't know. I think Firak maybe. I really like Firak, and I know a lot of people didn't.
I fucking loved him.
I thought he was amazing. I just like he kind of reminded me of you know, like almost a Saturday morning cartoon crazy villain, like something I might have seen in like the Batman animated or something.
Yes.
Just larger than life, crazy, you know, and he really sort of like burning bright and fire and raging and stuff like that and burning everything. I thought Firak was a really great villain. So I think Firak will be something I remember really fondly, but also like my guild. I found my guild at the start of Dragonflight, or just before Dragonflight started. And I've been playing this game for 20 years, and it is the best guild I've ever been in.
That's awesome.
So I feel really, really lucky to have found this guild. So yeah, I think I'll remember Dragonflight for my guild. How about you?
Well, been thinking about this. You know, I guess this is why I wanted to put this question last, because I think this is one I've been thinking about the most. Is this sort of era has been one of change, and it's kind of hard to explain, and this is gonna sound weird when I say it. this show has always been, this podcast has always been, part game news, part personal diary. And I don't know what it is. And the only way I can describe it is that the air tastes differently. And I know how that sounds, but it's the only way I can describe it. It's just, there's something that's been happening. It just, things feel different. And there's been a change in so many respects, for the game. I think that pull out of that nosedive and the Dragonflight era, just the feeling of it. I love being in Valdrakken, and the music there. It just has this immediate calming, soothing. It almost feels like you just went through hell and then you landed in this place, and I mean it is kind of how it ended up, and then it's almost like the calm after the storm or whatever it is. And so I really love being in Valdrakken just for the music alone. And someday when I retire and this game is still on one server somewhere in the Smithsonian, I'm definitely going to come back to spend more time in this expansion. But as I've talked about, we lost a really special member of our raid team, of our leadership team, of our guild. And it's kind of ended the team. When he died, we didn't raid after that. And so kind of being in this space now where I'm not really sure what the future holds for me and where I'm going to be and how I'm going to do it. I mean, I'm going to be playing WoW. I'm going to be doing something. I've talked recently about just kind of going back to the basics and just doing fucking questing. Like all the stuff I skipped when I first leveled because I was just trying to get to the end. And I joked about last time, like, did you know that there were way gates? I didn't, because I never finished the quest to get them. So this, unlocking all this stuff for the first time, it's been kind of a revelation. So, it's a big change, I feel. And this sort of era of, there was a way that, I had a guild and we were together for a long time. And I also had the same job for a long time. And, it's just things are changing. And I think some of it is good, like getting this promotion that I mentioned earlier. I mean, shit, I never thought that this would happen ever. And so now to shift gears into that professionally, and I'm at an age now where it just, I don't know, you start to feel things a little differently. And so it's just, you put all that together, and this era for me is one of kind of a mixed hope, I guess, where we had so many great things. Like specifically, I will remember Dragonflight for dragon riding, because we got that and it's amazing and it's going to be with us now. And and the Incarnates being super cool, and Steve Denuser having his own team run the show, and then he didn't last very long after that, I guess. But there's change afoot, and it will continue. And it's change is the only constant in life. So it's kind of funny to now sit here in a spot where we're about to go into this whole other upheaval now with the World Soul Saga, and bringing back some characters that I really love and am emotionally invested in. And I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to continue that ride where we've had that little pit stop and it was lighter, and we doing little baby dragon daycare. Now we're gonna head out and we're gonna take a dive deep down into the planet while it's screaming out, and we're gonna be going up against these giant forces. And I am hopeful that all of the shit that we've gone through as a community will have that payoff of continuing that momentum from Dragonflight, and we're gonna head into the World Soul Saga, and it's gonna be something that's unique and amazing and keeps us coming back for more. And so we've just we've had changes in the teams and the leadership, and there's just been all of this that's happened. And so I'm hoping that as we come out of that, we're now kind of in the next tier, that next place, whatever that change is leading to. And the big change, there'll all be little ones, but wherever that big change takes us to, I hope it's good, and I hope we maintain this direction we're on. And then even here, you and I joining forces, and now this is kind of a whole different thing here. And we're building something new and something fun, and like that's a big change. And so all of that happening kind of in a short period of time as we now head into this next expansion. So that, I think, is what I'll remember a lot of this era for is it's hope. It's hope that things are gonna get better and that we're changing for the better. And Farak was an amazing bad guy because he was totally like the Joker or something. I don't know. His animated series Batman villain. That is exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Dead on with that. They'll find a way to bring him back. I know it. They have to. Alternate Farak. He'll have a mustache or something. A little Fu Manchu. Like, oh, it's all mirror universe Farak. I don't know. They'll bring him back. It'll be great. So, all right. Well, I think we've done enough damage for one episode. Got almost 2 hours here. Hope you all enjoyed Dragonflight as much as we did, and I hope you all have a fun and safe summer, and we'll be checking in, I'm sure, from time to time. But until then, for those who don't already know, where can the good people find you out on the internet, Jez?
You can find me over on windowscentral.com/gaming. Also, you can find me on Twitter, or it's apparently now called X, /JZCORDEN, and also jez.c on YouTube. But I don't post there very often. Also, the Xbox 2 podcast if you're interested in Xbox stuff. And you can also find me here on the awesomeness that is Unshackled Fury.
There it is. Happy to have you aboard, and appreciate you continuing on this journey with me, and can't wait for what's to come with the War Within and World Soul Saga. And folks, we're gonna have a good ride coming. So my thanks to all of you for listening, and remember, you can always follow me and this show on Twitter at Berserker Rage and Unshackled_Fury, on Blue Sky at Berserker and Unshackled Fury, if that's still a thing, as well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury and Real Berserker. You can also join our Discord, links for which are in the profile of the show on Twitter and on our bonus roll page. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources or unshackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.